everybody. Yeah, we're out in pasture today because we're going to talk about rotating pastures. Now, if you've been with me the whole time I've been doing these videos, we've talked about this before. But there's always a lot of new people coming in, and I think rotating and why we rotate is so important. So I thought I wanted to cover it again. Like I said, a lot of new people coming in, and that way they get a shot to know why I do what I'm doing. And I think I'm going to make a change. At least I'm pretty sure I'm going to make a change. Not till next spring, but I'd like to be a little more energetic in the rotating of my pastures or what I'm doing. So why is rotating pastures so important? What do we gain out of that? And I think we gain, really there's two things, main things I think we gain out of it. One is the quality of our pasture. If you take a look, and you might not be able to see it quite as well here, I get out here, there's almost nothing. I mean, it's down there an inch tall, and in other places, it's a good 6 inches tall, and I get spots out there it's even taller than that. Why? Well, they like that. There's something there that they like, and they're eating it down. And they'll eat it down. It's their favorite, all right? It's like, that's chocolate chip cookies, and that over there is broccoli. That's about the best I can explain it. They're going to eat what they like to eat. And I like broccoli, by the way, but just for an example. They're going to have their favorite. That's what they're going to eat first. So what happens is when you put them out in a large pasture, they always go to what they like first. Well, what they like first never gets a chance to grow back. And if it doesn't get a chance to grow back and it always stays like that, you're going to end up with weeds. You're going to end up with stuff you don't want because you're eventually going to kill off what they really like. So rotational grazing is better for you because your pastures will always be in better condition that way. You won't be ending up with a lot of undesirable plants that the sheep don't want to eat. Secondly, it's better for the sheep because when they eat that down, instead of going for that, they can go for something else. They'll get a lot more nutrition out of the other stuff. It's just for some reason, they don't think they quite want that as much as they want this one. So it's a benefit to them. It's a benefit for you, for your pasture. Your pasture won't get eaten down. And by rotating, it allows those things that they really like, it allows those chocolate chip cookies to grow back up, give them a little rest, give them a chance to grow, and then put them back in. So that's your one big benefit. The other is going to be parasite control. That is really the biggest, and that's kind of why I'm thinking I want to make a slight change in what I'm doing here. So basically, here's the life cycle. All right, here's your life cycle. Your sheep's got worms. They lay eggs. The eggs are deposited in manure. All those little round balls all over the place, that's where they're at. They end up back in the soil, back by the soil. The eggs hatch. The larvae crawl out on the grass, and the sheep come back and eat the grass and get reinfested all over again. The entire system for that, from start to finish, some will say 14 days, but I've seen a lot of people say 16 to 21 days. So let's just call it 21 days and go from there. Well, if you can have your sheep on a pasture for, say, however long it is, 3 or 4 days, a week, 10 days, whatever it is, then you move them, and then you move them, and then you move them, and you eventually come back to this pasture, and it's at least 21 days or longer before you come back, you break the cycle. And that's what you're trying to do when you're rotating. That's the one that's really important. As much as having good pasture is important, if we can break that worm cycle, we've already got a disease-resistant animal in the painted desert sheep. If we can make it even more disease-resistant by properly rotating our pastures, cut that cycle off so you won't have worms. Because I'll be honest with you, if you're going to lose sheep, worms are probably going to be the first thing that's going to kill them. That's where you're probably going to lose them more than anything else is from worms. So let's get rid of that option. Let's rotate our pastures to a position that we don't have the sheep in the same place, that we can at least go for 21 days or more and cycle them around that way. Which brings me to my plan. All right, here is where I'm grazing. here's a Google Earth photo of where I'm grazing, and I put in the fences. And before I forget, I'm going to let you know now, the pastures that I just used for the ewes. All right, so in this map that you're looking at, pastures 4, 5, and 6 are being used by the ewes. That is about 3 acres. All right, so you have about 3 acres, and because a lot of people ask, how many sheep can I have? It's going to vary by what part of the country you're in. The type of grasses you have, the grow back on the grasses, the rain, everything else, is a lot of variables. But just so you see here, I have a roughly 3 acres for those ewes. I have 10 ewes, and there's 17 lambs. Now, the lambs are out there with them to start, but the lambs are going to get weaned here in a few weeks. So July, August, September, the rest of the year is just going to be the ewes. So we're going to go, a ewe and her lambs is a unit. That's one unit, one sheep unit. And right now on just under 3 acres, I'm running 10 ewes, or 10 family units. So roughly about 3 per acre, right in that neighborhood. About 3 per acre is what I'm doing right now. The rams, I haven't measured that one, what they're doing over there. I've had to use 3 pastures for them, but those are a lot smaller pastures. So if you're wondering how many sheep can I put on an acre, just because I'm doing 3 doesn't mean you can. Some places you can probably do 4 or 5. Some places you might get 1 or 2. It's going to depend on your grass, your weather, and everything you have. And understand, for me, that's about May till November. That's when I'm getting my grass. The rest of the time, I got to feed hay. All right, so let's get back to the map. 1, 2, and 3 are the rams. 4, 5, and 6 are presently what I'm doing for the ewes. If you see a blue line in the middle, that's the pasture fence that separates 5 and 6. I know they look kind of weird in there for colors and everything, and that's because they used to be totally fenced differently. Way on the right-hand side, that was a section of pasture. That long, narrow section didn't even get grazed last year. The next section to it, to the left, that looks kind of light gray or whatever, there was a horse in there last year, grazed it pretty much down, and then everything else from over there was my sheep and how they did. Then I rearranged all the fences, and that's how that blue fence is today. All right, here's my idea. I got, right now, I'm doing the sheep between 4, 5, and 6, but 5 and 6 are really big pastures. They stay there a long time, and I can't really keep them away 21 days before they come back. Don't mind the noise in the background. They got somebody putting in, I don't know, they're doing something over there. Been making noise for 2 days now. Anyway, here's what I'm thinking of doing. Here's the new system I'm thinking of setting up. All right, the blue fence is gone. That blue fence got taken out, and any of the red is, when I took out the blue fence, I'm using that to put in the red fence. All right, so I've got the red fence, and as you can see now, I have, instead of 4, 5, and 6, I have 4, 4A, 5, 6, 7, 8. I now have far more pastures. They're a lot smaller. As that alleyway kind of goes down, that's the way I'm going to get them from one to the other. Now, I set up the 4 and 4A because technically 4 is just going to be one pasture, but if I ever want to split it in half, now's the time to put a gate that accesses 4A, and then that way, it's another pasture way off in the corner. It may never be used that way, but I got the option. So that's why it's going to be set. Now, the green fences. And you notice there's all the green fences. Those fences are about 200 yards long. Gust of wind here makes my camera bounce around. If I'm bouncing right now, it's the wind bouncing my camera, okay? The green fences, those are each about 200 yards, 200 feet long. So we're talking 800 feet. So I'm talking over 2 rolls of goat and sheep fence, which is going to be in excess of $800, almost $1,000 today. If I got to buy, well, I'd have to buy more than 2 rolls. So we're going to say $800, $900 is what I have to do. So those green are not going to be wire. I'm going to make those hot wire. And it's not going to be wire, it's going to be the, I guess you'd call it poly rope. They have poly tape and they have poly rope. Well, my daughter has a bunch of leftover poly rope from her goat she's not using I can get. And then I looked and I can buy 1,300 feet of poly rope for 28 bucks, 30 bucks. So Instead of spending $800 or $900 to have good 4-foot goat and sheep fence on those green lines, instead I'll use poly rope. I'll probably use 4 strands of it, but probably for 50 or 60 bucks, I'll get by with that. So the sheep have not been around electric fence before, not that I know of. So I think what I'll plan on doing is picking a small spot this fall, and I'll wait till I get all the lambs off. When I get the lambs all off and I just got the ewes left, then I think what I'll do is pick a small spot, put up some electric fence, just so they start to learn what it is. I'm going to teach them now what electric fence is, so hopefully next spring when I do this project, they'll all be used to it, they'll all know what it is, or it won't take them long to get a refresher course and figure, oh yeah, I remember what that is now, stay away from that stuff. Now, will I end up doing this? I don't know for sure. Right now I'm saying I want to do this because I can take pastures 4, 5, 6, 7, and 8. I got 5 pastures to rotate. So even if I left them a week in each one, I'm going to end up with 5 weeks before I come back. And I don't think I'll have to do that much. I think I can leave them probably about 5 to 6 days on each one. And that would give me then 30 days or 28 days. That would surely break the cycle. Are they going to eat that one pasture down if I leave them in there 5 or 6 days? And those pastures are going to be, 2 of them will be 100 feet wide by 200 long. The other 3 will be 75 feet wide by 200 feet long. So if I stick 10 ewes in there, are they just going to eat that thing down in 5 or 6 days? Yeah, they are. And that's the idea. I want them not to eat this, but I want them to eat more of that. I want them to eat what they're not eating now. I want to force them to eat what they're not eating now because it's still good feed for them. And they will eat it because this is going to grow back in 4 or 5 days. So they will eat that. They'll eat over the entire pasture a lot better. If I crowd them in there 4 or 5 days, 6 days, and I'll know once we get going and I start doing this, I'll have a pretty good idea of how long I can take before I rotate them. I may be able to go longer early in the spring when it's raining. I may have to move them much faster in July and August when it doesn't rain any longer. We'll see, I don't know. But the idea is make them eat it all. You can't just have chocolate chip cookies all the time. You got to eat some broccoli too. You need a balanced diet. Now, I don't know if chocolate chip cookies and broccoli are balanced, but you know what, you got my rough idea here. Let them eat it all. I think that's what will happen if I do this. I really want to get this done. The cost and expense is not going to be that bad. Just buy some of the poly twine, poly rope. I'll have to buy some posts, but that won't be too bad either. Much easier to do than if I was going to have to go spend $800 for a bunch of 4-foot goat and sheep wire. Probably wasn't going to get it done then. But think about it. If you're just getting ready to start out, think about how you can divide your pasture into small individual pastures and you can move them around from one to the other. I think you'll end up, your sheep will be better for you. They'll be a lot healthier because you can cut that worm cycle, and your pasture is going to be a lot better at the same time. All right. One thing, we're going to run up the barn real quick. I got one thing to show you before we call it done. All right. About a couple videos ago, I was talking to you about changing my shop around. I took down part of the shop. If you remember, I saw this. I put it in a spot where I could roll over a round bale and feed my hay that way. Well, what I needed to do is take out the 2 windows. So this last week, I took out the windows and I put in a door. So now I'll have the ability, my round bale will be sitting here. I got my grain back behind me over there. I can come right out here, do my feeding. That'll be a whole lot easier than the way I've been doing it. And yeah, to play it safe, I added a bolt. Don't trust just the doorknob. If the sheep find a way to get to its feed when it's not supposed to, I'll guarantee it will. All right, that's all I got. I believe I've decided I'm going to wean on July 6th. At least I think I was told the 4th of July is a Monday. So if that's the case, I'm thinking that Wednesday I'm going to wean on the 6th. Because if I wean on July 6th and I put everybody in here, I can notify everybody that needs to come get lambs. And if they want to come the following weekend on the Saturday or Sunday, then they'll be weaned Wednesday. They'll have Thursday, Friday. They'll have at least 2 days here to kind of get over it. Yeah, I'll give everybody a break. I'll take care of all the bawling and the crying that's going to go on for 2 days. Let's try to get most of it done. Maybe by that time they come in the weekend, they'll be able to get them. Or if somebody wants to come the following week, that's fine too. But that's the plan right now. Wean on the 6th of July. So if we don't have something for then, we'll do a video on the weaning. Take care.